Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our show and the one place in the world where everyone wants to visit, Hueytown, Alabama. Yep, that's right, Hueytown, Alabama. Today's winner is Jeff Gordon. He's just like a lot of other guys in auto racing. He's a 15-year veteran, and he's got a wall full of trophies and a string of victories that's getting longer and longer. But Jeff is different. For starters, he's only 20 years old.
I don't look at myself as being, you know, the youngest guy out there, being however much younger I am than the rest of the guys out there. I look at myself as just being another competitor who can drive a race car, who, you know, is with a good team and has good people around him, and so far good things have happened, and I try not to look at myself as being the kid out there.
Let me tell you one thing. Jeff Gordon doesn't drive like a kid, that's for sure. On today's edition of Winners, we'll get to know the hottest young driver on the NASCAR circuit and to see the kind of hard work, sacrifice, and family support that goes into making a winner.
Winners is brought to you by Fram Filter Products. Fram, you can pay a little now.
Jeff Gordon is younger than most champion race car drivers, but he's been at it about as long as most of them. When he talks about the early days in California, I mean, he's talking about the early days.
When I was about 4.5, 5 years old, my stepfather brought 2 race cars home, one for me, one for my sister, just a little quarter midget. You know, we were excited, and, you know, I was into anything that I could get my hands on those days. I think it was just something to keep me out of trouble, but, you know, it just started out making a little dirt track out the fairgrounds and just going around, spinning around in circles, and it went from that to going to the races, you know, on every once in a while on the weekends, and the next thing I know, I'm practicing during the week and racing 3 times a weekend, and, you know, it just, I really never realized that was going to end up being my future.
Jeff's mom and stepfather supported Jeff's new hobby. Most parents might think it was a bit too dangerous, but to them, it seemed a lot safer than the alternative.
We started Jeff in bicycle racing because all the kids on the block were BMX bike racing, and his mom and I both felt that was a little dangerous.
We realized real quick that he wanted to compete in the, you know, up over the jumps and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I thought it was pretty neat at first, you know. I thought, oh, you know, well, that'll keep him busy. Well, I went to my first race, and they had ambulances there hauling kids off with broken ribs and everything, and I said, I don't want this at all. But I couldn't see him doing that when he was older. No, I couldn't see me watching him do that. And then that's when John brought home the quarter midgets, and then I thought we were really nuts. I said, wait, we're going from bicycles to cars, and he's like 4.5 years old. I said, we're really crazy, but I realized right away that it was much safer. I mean, he had a complete body around him. He had protection around him, and it, you know, it was just a much safer thing. They didn't have ambulances at the quarter midget tracks.
Jeff's first outing didn't do one thing to calm his mother's fears.
Went to his first race, and he's trying really hard, and he hits a fence, and he flips the quarter midget 5 times, end for end, down the front straightaway. And then she looks at me, and she says, I don't know if we've really done the right thing. And I said, hey, it's fine. We'll fix the car, and we'll be right back out here racing again, you know. And we fixed the car, and Jeff helped me, and we went back out, and he ran into the same spot in the fence. But this time he didn't tip it over. We fixed the car again and went back out, and the kid gets fast time, you know.
Starting when he was a kid, Jeff was a winner, and his career is yet to slow down. It began with 3 national quarter midget championships, and followed that with 4 national go-kart championships before hitting the all-star circuit. He racked up hundreds of victories, and on his 16th birthday, he became the youngest driver ever awarded a USAC sprint car license. And he was driving a Raleigh Hemley car.
One of the most prestigious midget races on the USAC National Championship Series is the night before the 500. It's held in Indianapolis Raceway Park the night before the Indianapolis 500. That was Jeff's first race in 1989. So we were a little doubtful how we were going to do. We knew we'd do well. We had a brand new car. Jeff, in qualifying, went out and broke the track record and then proceeded to just run away with the race.
That race, that win, would be a major turning point.
It just seemed like one day I was winning weekly races on some dirt track quarter miles in southern Indiana, and the next day I was winning on live TV, and you know, it happened really fast, but it's definitely what got me here today.
And he came back the next year to become the youngest series champion ever, winning 9 races and 10 poles. But Jeff needed new worlds to conquer. He had the confidence and the skill to attack the Busch Grand Nationals.
It was a year that I look back at now and say, wow, you know, I mean, we won like 9 or 10 races in that one series, and I look back now and you know, here I am trying to win one Busch Grand National race, and knowing that I won 9 or 10 races in a single series in a single season, and I mean, it really makes me feel good.
Good maybe, but certainly not cocky.
I knew that it was going to be really tough. I knew what the competition level was like, and I really didn't expect to win. If we even ran a top 10 or a top 15, I was going to do backflips all the way down the front straightaway. You know, I knew how tough it was. Just finishing a race for me was a goal, and I'd go out there and I'd spin out here and crash here, and just, you know, it was really a really difficult change from the open wheel cars to the stock cars, and it definitely took a while for me to get used to them.
Still, 1991 wasn't exactly a losing year for Jeff, because by the end of the season, he had edged out David Green for Rookie of the Year honors.
That was like a championship in itself, you know. I mean, we had a tough battle. David Green and myself, I tell you, we had some hard-fought battles, and he was running good, and we were running good, or he was having bad luck, and we were having bad luck. So it was a championship title in itself.
It was a title that he had spent his whole life preparing for. A youth filled with success and hard work, but missing some things too. You ever think you just missed being a regular kid?
Oh yeah, I can remember, you know, when I was younger than I am now, there were so many times when I wanted to go play football with my other friends, and go play basketball or baseball, and ride my skateboard or my bicycle. There are so many times when I, you know, got in arguments with my mom and dad. I don't want to go to the races, you know. I want to go, you know, be a regular kid.
Michael Jordan missed out on a few things, and Dale Earnhardt missed out on a few things, and all of the people that are in the Olympics this year missed out on a few things. And I think that one of the things that all successful professional athletes have done is dedicate themselves to a specific area to try to be the best that they can be.
Jeff Gordon's dedication began paying off. He started noticing that with the wins and the prize money came a measure of fame.
You know, he'll tell me that, you know, he went here, he went there, and, you know, somebody recognized him or something. That really means a lot to him, because he really doesn't think that he's, you know, any kind of a big, important person. He doesn't think of himself as a Dale Earnhardt or a Richard Petty or anything like that. And I'm constantly telling him, my favorite saying to him is, you're just a little fish in a great big ocean.
I want to be a racer, you know. I want to go out and I want to win races, and I want to be successful, and whether or not I'm the next Richard Petty or Dale Earnhardt really doesn't matter to me. I want to be the next Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon has had great support from his family. One of the things I like about this young racer is that he appreciates and acknowledges that support.
Oh, I tell you, if it wouldn't have been for my stepfather and my mom, I don't think I would have been here today. I would have never won any races. You know, they were kind of going on a long shot too. They didn't know that I was going to be here today and still be racing and being as successful as I've been so far. But they believed in me, and they believed in themselves, and And I tell you, they've done a world for me and have made me what I am today, not just as a race car driver, but as a person.
We have a unique situation. Jeff has a mom that's probably the biggest driving force in his whole career, and probably my greatest motivation to continue motivating or helping Jeff. He creates his own motivation. Once you meet Jeff and you go to the race with him, his constant, relentless desire to succeed draws the best out of everybody. He says, I motivated him. He motivated me. His mom motivated both of us.
Jeff's special relationship with his stepdad is seen in every aspect of his racing career, from building cars to dealing with the sponsors. John is the one person he feels he can always turn to.
That's so much common sense, and he's taught me so much, and he made me work on those cars, and he made me learn. He'd help me go out and talk to another driver and talk to this person, or go out and talk to sponsors. I mean, he taught me so much just about racing in general, not just the race cars.
When he was 5 and 6 years old, I'd say, what's the car feel like? And he'd try to tell me what the car feels like. So I'd kind of scratch my head, and I'd say, well, I'm going to change the car. You tell me what it feels like when I change the car. So I would make a change in the car. He'd come in, he'd say, gee, Dad, that's worse. Well, I didn't know what was better, so I'd go the opposite way, and he'd come in and say, that's better. As he got older and he began to understand things better, we started teaching him more about the mechanics, the strength of bolts and different things of that nature. And we started having him actually put the cars together so he knew the actual components of the car.
My dad's always told me, you win a race by preparation on a Wednesday, not on a Saturday or a Sunday, the day of the race. And I've always believed in that, because that was what always worked.
Jeff's stepfather, John Bickford, is one of the most intense, one of the most intelligent men that I've ever met in racing. And he instilled in Jeff at a very early age that he had to understand the car. He had to be able to work on the car. He had to relate to the crew what the car was doing and then let them fix it. And he does a great job at that. Any minor change we make, he understands. He understands how the car reacts to it. And I think that's going to be a big part of his success down here.
We can make a great team because Jeff can come in and he can relate to the car owner or the chief mechanic exactly what the car needs. He has a tremendous talent for that.
He's had a lot of success at a very young age. He's grown as a competitor, as a strategist, and as a mechanic. What does not seem to have grown is the size of his head.
Through all the success he's had, you don't ever find him any different. He'd win 98% of his races in quarter midgets, and he was exactly the same kid as he was the day before he won his first race. And I think it's been a real help to him in his career, because he is a humble, quiet, gentle individual until he gets in the race car. And then he'll run wheel to wheel, fender to fender, bumper to bumper with anybody.
Now, they constantly try to say, hey, Jeff, no, you better keep your head screwed on tight. Don't let it get, big. Yeah, there's some good things happening, and, just take it one step at a time. Don't let it all get to you. And so far, it hasn't, and that's what I'm striving for right now. I just want to get to the top, and I know that if I get big-headed now, I'm never going to get there.
Staying on top means winning races, and the pressure to do well on race day is something every driver has to deal with. And like all racers, Jeff knows that he's got to do it alone.
I want to be as successful as anyone. I want to be, I want to be number one, but I think I put more pressure on myself than anybody does, and I think if I keep it at that, the pressure won't get to me.
Jeff Gordon has been called the future of auto racing. For a while at the end of his first season, it looked like the future would involve a Winston Cup ride. He was offered one after just one season on the Busch Grand National circuit. Most racers his age would have jumped at the chance. Jeff turned it down. Listen.
I tell you, it was a difficult time for me because things were going good with Busch Grand National, and I didn't want to go away from Busch Grand National. I wanted to, I wanted to stick to Bill Davis. I wanted to keep everything going the way it was going because it was going so good. But then when you get offered a Winston Cup ride and you know that everything you're working for is to get to Winston Cup, and all of a sudden you're offered a Winston Cup ride, and you're saying, boy, if I don't take this, how do I know if I'm going to be offered another Winston Cup ride?
Well, he called me and asked me to come down and meet with him and Cale Yarborough, who had extended an offer to him. And we looked the whole package that Cale had to offer over, and we looked at where Jeff was at current time in Busch Grand National. We spoke to other drivers, Dale Earnhardt, Kenny Schrader. We listened to the advice of Bill Davis, the car owner he was driving for, and I was suggesting to Jeff that we talk to all these people, but we look and we listen to what everybody had to say. And I said, then you go to bed and you make a decision. You tell me what that is, and I'll back you 100%.
He could have handled it. He could have stepped into that car and probably handled it real well. But there was not a need for that. He's got plenty of time. He was, I guess he was only 19 at the time. He's only 20 now. And his career has been structured, and there's no need for him to get in a hurry.
It wasn't the right time for me. I think that I know how much I learned in my first year with Busch and how much more that I've got to learn and how much more I need to learn before I even make that step to Winston Cup. That's a major step, and I don't want to take it too soon, and I want it to be the right time, and I want good things to come out of it.
Did you ever think your career would grow this fast?
No way, no way. It's amazing how far it's come in the last year, in the last 2 or 3 years. I just thought I was going to be a kid racing midgets and sprint cars for the rest of my life, and I guess it happened so fast and everything was going so well, and I don't want to break that momentum. I want to keep it rolling and keep going, and hopefully things will get me to the top.
It's hard to leave the cars that got you where you are, but Jeff knows which car will take him where he wants to be. Before Jeff goes all the way, he's going to have to complete the transition from open wheels to stock cars.
I don't want to ever forget the good times that we had with the open wheel cars. So, but I got to limit it. I really, right now it's a time for me to concentrate as much as I can on the stock cars. And I mean, Winston Cup is where it's at, and that's where I want to be. And if things keep going the way they're going, I think we've got a real good chance at being there. Once you get there, then you just start all over again, and you try to get to the front, and you try to win races, and then hopefully someday we can win the Winston Cup championship. I know that's a long ways away, but it's definitely a goal that you got to set for yourself.
Jeff Gordon has set a lot of high goals. He's already reached some of them, and he has enough time to accomplish the rest. Young he may be, but no one thinks of Jeff Gordon as a kid. They think of him as the professional racer he is.
All the drivers that win, all the drivers that have been successful, I've wanted a pattern after that. I wanted to go out and win and do my best, and I felt like I was in a different category all the time because I was always the young guy. I was always the kid.
He's young, but he started at 5, so he's got 15 years of racing under his belt and attempting to be a professional. So, to say that the opportunities came early, early in age, but not necessarily early in a racing career,
I think down the road, I'm going to have a lot of experience and still be one of the younger guys. When I'm 30 years old, I'm going to have a lot of experience, and I hope that that just means a lot of success and for a number of years, and I hope I can be winning races when I'm 51 like Harry Gant.
Just in case you're keeping track, Jeff Gordon won't be 51 until the year 2022. Hey, I can't even count high enough to figure how old I'll be in 2022. Now, y'all come back next week while I'm still the young, exciting, and dashing Neil Bonnet. Y'all take care.
Winners has been brought